I just couldn't stay silent anymore. I really needed to vent this. People are way too toxic right now about their expectations not being realized. But before we jump into that, my name is Shannen, folks, your true anime misfit, and welcome to another Random Rambles, the show where I talk about anything and everything that comes into my noggin. Yes, I understand that this is primarily an anime channel, but with Nintendo Direct being in place, my rage couldn't keep me at bay for voicing my opinion. That opinion is... expectation does not equal causation. It's one thing to feel disappointed about a conference at face value or the format at hand. It's another to get your panties in a twist over one thing you didn't get to see. Obviously, if you watched Nintendo's Direct through, I don't know, any stream yesterday, you could see the thousands upon thousands of comments about how, oh, my game of choice wasn't shown in the Direct. This is the worst conference ever. Or, if he's not a character I can play, I regret buying my Switch. It's so dramatically stupid. This mentality is a double-edged sword as well. Either you got what you wanted, but because one detail was left out, you hated it, or if they announced a game in just a logo or announcement, you hate it. It seems like there's never a middle ground. But focusing on the Direct at hand, I'm going to quickly pan out the top 5 reasons why I think people should calm the fuck down and realize it's going to be okay. Also, I'm focusing on the Nintendo one because it's the company I like and the games I'm interested in, so here we go. 1. We already knew this E3 Direct was going to be focused on Smash. As announced by multiple sources in April, Nintendo has gone on record to say that Smash would be the focus of this Direct. This reflects the past 2 E3 Directs where Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild were the focus of those years, so they focused on those games. And I personally like this format. The big game of that year tends to suck all of the air out of the room for other titles, so even a well-known indie would get overshadowed if it was being focused on with a big game. It helps Nintendo and other games with pacing. 2. Nintendo does Directs all year round. / they show more games in the treehouse. I feel like people forget quickly that Nintendo doesn't do E3 like the other companies, for they do this Direct format all the time. This isn't going to be the last we will hear from them this year, nor did they randomly forget the games they showed in past Directs. And while I agree that the treehouse is nothing like the Directs, they do have a record though of occasionally showing the lesser known titles there, so if you have the actual patience, I know, right? You might get something there. Note, might. Nothing is guaranteed, people. 3. Smash needed to be detailed as much as possible. Probably the point that inspired this video to begin with, ironically. But newsflash! Smash is a huge game. Maybe the hugest game in Nintendo. Who'd have thought? And I don't know about you, but the one thing that pissed me off more than the fan toxicity yesterday was whenever a Direct happened before E3 clearly marked as a Direct for another game, like Splatoon for example, and Smash is all I could see in the comments. No one would shut up about it in chat. Most of these comments are probably from trolls, honestly, but regardless, it was a good move for Nintendo to address as much as they could in this Direct. They even answered questions I know fans have been wondering about. Is this a port or a new game? It's kind of both. Will we get to unlock characters again like in Melee? Yeah! Can Amiibo not associated with Smash Brothers work as well? Because that was a real concern for parents who had to buy hundreds of Amiibo figures. And that answer is also yes. In my opinion, I think this Direct really cares about getting this game right. Giving the fans as much as they want without having to utter the phrase we all know and love, player choice. And even Ridley is now in the game. That was a request that put the Nintendo fandom at odds for years. And it's good they addressed that. Oh, but they didn't put Waluigi in as a character. He's just a success trophy. This game sucks. Really? 4. Many of the games people are whining about are either too early in development to show, or games that weren't announced by Nintendo themselves. Nintendo has been good thus far, only keeping the showing games in more detail if they're close to release. Last year we got the bombshell that was Metroid Prime 4, and Pokemon will be getting a next-gen game after the Let's Go games. From the past E3s, it's pretty obvious that both are still in early development, and I don't know why people get so hyped over just a logo. I mean, I like the fact that the logo gives us a confirmation, but give people time, man. I feel that Metroid shouldn't be shown until they are certain of a direction, and Pokemon? Are you guys fucking serious? They just confirmed that a few weeks ago. Of course they're not ready to launch anything or show anything. Give them time to breathe. Which, speaking of, 5. Having all your heavy hitters come out at once would be a terrible idea. Okay, let's say fans did get what they wanted and every major Nintendo IP got a release by the end of this year. I guaranteed people would be pissed of the rushed quality, and more importantly, be sensory and financially burned out if everything happened at once. Picture a Black Friday where Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Smash, and Metroid Prime 4 all launched at the same time. Sure, the hardcore fans might get them all, but the common Jane? Nah, that would be unrealistic. They would have their money drained faster than you can say Goomba for Smash. On the business angle, it would essentially take away all the hype for long term. As if all the heavy hitters happened in one year, what is there to look forward to beyond? Sure, Nintendo has gotten better with their third parties, but this is Nintendo, the #1 video game company that reigns supreme when it comes to iconic IPs. They've already proven it only takes one of their IPs to sell millions of consoles like cornfield hotcakes. All I'm saying is that sometimes it's best to wait and let your enjoyment and wallet savor every game we get. As for my personal review of the Direct as a whole, I think they did a good job, and I would give them a solid B. I was happy to games like Fire Emblem making it to console and a Mario Party that actually looks fun again. I also think the quick reel they did with the smaller titles was an efficient way to save time and remind us of games we already knew. As for some critiques of this Direct, I did find it jarring how the Deus Ex Machina game in the beginning just ended abruptly. Maybe it was on the feed I was watching, but didn't anyone else feel like the trailer was really sloppy? Another devil's advocate to the quick games reel was that some of these games in this segment I barely saw coverage of before, in which some games got a few more seconds to show off what they could really do. Also the obvious point that if you are not a fan of Smash Brothers, this probably isn't the Direct for you. And I can own up to that. Maybe you really hate Smash and wish they didn't spend so much time on it. But again, they did warn us months beforehand. It's not like they pulled an Ubisoft and talked way too long before their games and then barely showed anything. Or BEA and just be bad. Could have gotten worse, people. My final critique comes with the lack of Nintendo quirkiness they do tend to do for their E3 Directs personally. I don't know about most people, but I'm in the minority that loved those cute segments before the conference, and how much fun it was. I could see why they were taken away in this new era of Nintendo. However, those segments did help make the E3 Directs in particular a little more special. In conclusion, I think Pro Jared said it best. It's better to view a conference at its face value than what your expectations have twisted. No matter the outcome, we got to see a lot of cool upcoming games this year. And just because we didn't see Yoshi or Bayonetta 3 or Metroid Prime 4, for example, doesn't mean this is the only time we could have. There's plenty more opportunities down the pipeline and we should look forward to that. But that is my piece with it, and I cannot be the only one who thinks this way. So post in your opinions below whether people are setting their expectations way too high, or that the lack of something is still important. I don't know. I would love to see the devil's advocates, but please be nice in the comments. So that's it. I know this is like the second time I put off the Anime Boston video, but I promise next Wednesday will be the one. As for now, everybody have a happy casual Wednesday. Shannen out!